Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I am Kaylee Batesman, the Managing Director at She Can Code, and today we're discussing who gets the mic, women, visibility, and power in tech. I've got the wonderful Olivia Hervy, Chief Ecosystem Officer at VivaTech with me today. And I'm very lucky to have her here because we're going to unpack who gets seen, heard, and backed in tech and who gets overlooked. We're going to dip a little bit into the difference between visibility and genuine power, who gets access to the biggest stages in tech, and why representation alone isn't enough to drive meaningful change. Welcome, Olivia. Thank you so much for coming on Spilling the Tea. It's a pleasure to have you with us. We'd love to start with a bit about you, if that's okay. Hear all about you and your journey to set the scene for our listeners.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for having me today. It's such a great pleasure. So actually, I'm Olivia Hervy, Chief Ecosystem Officer of VivaTech. I'm 48 years old, so obviously, VivaTech is definitely not my first role. And my background is in the events industry. I spent more than 15 years in that industry, but also in parallel, I've been part of the startup ecosystem also for more than 15 years. 15 years. So I'm like a pioneer when it comes to the startup ecosystem. I was there when this ecosystem really takes shape. But before that, I started my career in the music industry because I'm lucky enough to say that I always put my passion in my in my different roles. I'm driven by passion. So obviously music was my passion. Then I started in the music industry, first in music festivals, and then I joined Read Midem, called RX Global now. They are the leading player when it comes to B2B trade shows. And when I joined them, I spent most of my time working on Midem, which used to be the leading international event for the music industry. And I'm pretty sure you remember that 27, the music industry was one of the first industries to be impacted by the digital revolution.
Yeah.
Then at that time, we really started to look at innovations, innovators, and I headed up the innovation topic for Midem through different roles. One was building conference programming, because we needed to cover the digital part of that industry, and also really support the traditional music players to help them create value again, you see, because they were disrupted by tech, by the digital. And then years after that, I lead the growth strategy on the startup segment, to make sure that startups would come in numbers at Midem, because we needed them to reinvent the consumer experience and again to create value. You see, so I really went from music to music tech and then tech, and again because of that passion that I have for all the topics that I handle on a daily basis. I was also doing content marketing. I built the content marketing activity for Read Midem, but my heart was with startups. And actually, my dream at that time, it was in 2018, my dream was to work in an incubation program, like incubator. And I must say that the story became even more beautiful than I could have imagined, because after Read Me Time, I launched my own incubator. You see, by joining, I had this amazing opportunity. I joined WeWork, the leading office space provider at that time, actually, and I launched and lead WeWork Labs, which used to be the incubator program within WeWork. So I launched the incubator in Paris, and my daily role at that time was to support founders on a daily basis, to really help them grow their company, to bring the right resources to help them build their company, raise funds, and meet clients, and meet and secure new partnerships and new deals and with clients. So that was before VivaTech, actually. And then I joined VivaTech 2 years and a half ago. So that's 25 years of career resumed in 5 minutes, I guess.
I love that. And I love that your route isn't traditional as well. That's something that we really celebrate on this podcast, especially starting in music, because a lot of people we speak to in tech, they have this misconception that working in tech actually isn't very creative, or the people in tech aren't very creative, and that you do computer science, you come in and you code, and that's it. Your day isn't very varied. It's not going to be very creative. And I love it when we hear from people that have come in from really creative routes and found their way into the tech industry. It's just one of those myths that we try and bust, because your career sounds like it's been really creative and has taken you, to lots of brilliant places. And is that something that kind of, what did you think of the tech industry before you came in? Did you think that was what it was going to be? That's not for me because I'm not technical in that way.
So actually, when I started my career, tech didn't exist. Like it was in 2004. I'm not so young, and tech didn't exist. So I really went with the flow.
Yeah,
And that's really like music who brought me to music tech, because we had no choice at that time than embrace technology to create value again, to support the
yeah,
music industry. You see, and
yeah,
then and I feel like after years I was like a bit also not fed up about music tech, but I felt like it was not creative enough, and tech can solve so much more important issues. You know what I
yeah.
mean, in lives. Then I decided to embrace all industries, but
Yeah.
with the tech angle, if I can say.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And you as well, you've spent much of your career creating stages and opportunities for founders, as you mentioned. So, what have you learned about the difference between being visible and actually having influence in the tech ecosystem?
That's a very, very interesting question. Uh, so visibility is definitely being seen,
Yeah,
and then being known, but influence is being listened to when cameras are off, and
yeah,
it's also about having an impact. And my feeling is that, and especially when it comes to startup funders, every funder can really have an influence, because what they are creating, like the products that they are building, can really influence the way we live, the way we work, the way we consume. They also create jobs, so that's definitely influence. And products that they are building can also can have an impact on the planet, on our lives. One example I have in mind, at last VivaTech, I met with a female founder, and she's building a product right now. It's a bra, like a bra, that will detect tumors. Imagine. So, this product and this founder,
amazing.
she may impact like millions of lives.
Yes,
Imagine. You see? But yeah, coming back to visibility and influence, my experience showed me that you have different profiles of funders. Those who are running after tech events organizer to get a speaking slot at an event. Those who decide not to be visible at all. You don't see them at conferences, you don't see them at networking events, because they're too focused on building their
yeah,
product or growing their company. And I see a third category of a founder, those who are combining both, like visibility and influence, and usually those ones are like a bit famous in the startup ecosystem. They are driven by a mission, and the world is expecting them to influence the tech ecosystem and sometimes the laws.
Yeah.
And one great example I have in mind, pretty sure you know him, it's Arthur Mensch from Mistral AI. You know, Mistral AI is one of the leading player in the AI models in Europe.
Yeah.
And actually, this guy, he started his career only 3 years ago. And at that time, he was not really good at public speaking. So obviously, he got trained because today he speaks at every conference. And actually, you know, last month, he was heard by the French National Assembly regarding structural dependencies that we have in France, like, you know, in the digital sector, and the risk to France independence, you know, as we are dependent to US and Chinese technologies, pretty like the UK, you see. And
Yeah.
so this committee wanted to hear from like this guy, like, you know, a key player in the French tech sector on this issue. And to me, that's really what we call real influence, you know, what real influence looks like, you know, not a stage, but a seat at the table, like where
Yeah.
decisions are made. That's the big difference.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're so right there. When people think about visibility, I suppose there is a balance as well when you are a founder. If you're trying to get your business growing, you are focusing on that, remembering to be visible, but also whether or not it's worth what you're doing when you are being visible. Like you said, you can sometimes have a stage. It might not be the right stage in front of the right people, but having a seat at the table where you can actually influence decisions. Actually, it's just finding where to spend that energy. I suppose it's assigning time to do it and then figuring out where is the best. Because you don't have a lot of time when you are a founder, obviously. So that must be quite difficult to balance.
Yeah, and what I explain is like it's different level of influence. Of course,
Yeah,
Arthur Mensch will probably influence the like legal framework. You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
uh, but any founder, you know, when you create jobs, you have an influence on the economy, on people.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
What do we mean by influence? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, And as well, when you're assessing founders or startups, what qualities tend to get rewarded with attention and exposure? And do you think these criteria unintentionally favor certain groups over others?
So this question is not that easy. I don't think I have any criteria, or maybe one. I would say like achievement. And I have one example in mind for this. So this year at VivaTech, we launched a new stage that was called the Founders Arena. And on this stage, we deliver a hands-on programming that it's all about, you know, what it takes to build a company today. So, you know, topics goes from fundraising to product development, go-to-market strategies, etc., etc. And it's ready for funders and their teams, like, you know, startup funders and their teams. And on stage, we put funders and investors only, and they come to share the, you know, best practices based on their experience, and the promise for the audience is to really leave with key takeaways they can apply to their business. And I will say that, you know, for this stage, yeah, the first criteria is definitely to, you know, what those founders achieved with their company, and the fact that they built a successful business. You
Yep.
see? So it's all, there is those who successfully pivoted their product, those who managed to crack the Asian market or the US market, or build like successful collaborations with enterprises, and etc., etc., etc. And actually, you know, that was not easy to identify those people, because usually founders who comes on stage, they usually share their vision on the industry in which they are evolving. You know what I mean? And less about business topics and how they did this or that, or and there is little literature on this. So we really co-built the programming with key ecosystem players, and then achievement was definitely, and some of them, some of the speakers were not so known and so famous, but
Yep.
they made it. So they have something to share that can be really useful to to other funders. You see, and it's also a way to give back, and it's we had great feedback actually from the audience on this new format that we delivered this year.
Yes. This might be a controversial question, but a lot of our members have spoken to us about when they became founders, trying to find funding as a woman in tech sometimes can be very difficult. And a lot of them have shared that they actually went and found a male co-founder to help them when they had that visibility, and when they went to go and find funding, they actually found it easier with a male co-founder to be out there, or at least, you know, have him being the visible part of the company. Is that something that you have seen as well, where that those types of challenges, they still happen?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like this is definitely a big issue on which we put the spotlight every year with the what we call the Female Founder Award. Just to share with you data, last year, a company funded or co-funded by a woman received only 12% of the global VC funding. 12%. And so this is definitely not acceptable. And this is also why we've been running the Female Founder Awards for 8 years now, not only to amplify the visibility on female founders and innovative companies that they are building, but also to amplify this issue when it comes to the access to the funding.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, we help them also. We bring them every year networking opportunities and possibilities to access and meet at VivaTech with VCs, like venture investment firms.
Amazing. Yeah. Yes, I have heard it often, and obviously there is still those challenges, and how people get around them. And on that topic as well, I wanted to ask you about getting more women on panels, because we hear that a lot. We see companies as well always looking for, you know, women for speaker lineups and things like that. And I remember in the past that used to be a big thing where people would jump in and be like, "There's a brilliant list of ladies here. Why don't we? You know, why haven't you?" Gone to them. There used to be almost like a bit of an argument happening on social media to make sure that there was always women on panels and speaker lineups, and also startup stages. But how does visibility matter if the decision-making power still sits elsewhere anyway?
Yeah, good question. So visibility definitely matters, but you're right. You know, it cannot be the end goal. It's super important because, you know, it creates role models, and it helps normalize the presence of women in tech. But that's true that if women are only visible on stage and not at the table, like, you know, where decisions are made, then we are missing the point. So definitely.
Yes.
But at the same time, I do think the ecosystem is changing, and especially in tech, more maybe than in other industries. Maybe not fast enough because there is still some gaps, like, you know, in AI. There is not enough women, definitely, but we see more and more female founders, more and more women partners in investment firms, and also in corporate leaderships. What we see also in sectors like health tech, there is like a strong momentum when it comes to like women building companies in health tech and or women taking leadership positions. And at VivaTech, we are we've been committed for years to bring in a gender balance in the conference programming, like in across our stage, and we are getting closer and closer to our objective of having 50% of women among our speakers. And honestly, my feeling is that, if you want women on stage who are experts in their field, you find them. You just
Yes.
need to work a bit more.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you find them. And and we do find them in every vertical, every industry, founders, investors, corporate leaders. But we just sometimes need to work double. So my answer would be visibility is important, but true, it has to come with power. It has to come with decision making. And the goal is not only to see more women in stage, it's to see more women shaping the agenda. And fun facts, at VivaTech, our exec committee is gender balance. So it's not only across our stages.
Yes, I love that. And you're so right as well, in that comment about if you want female speakers, you have to go and look for them. We find that sometimes with our partners, so partners that come to us, they're looking to diversify their workforces with more women in tech. And we love the fact that they know that it takes work, that you need partners that can help with that. There isn't a silver bullet fix, that if you want something like that, you want more females, for example, as speakers, you have to go and do the work. Like, it doesn't happen by magic. And our partners say that all the time, that, you only see improvements when you actually start actively searching and actively trying to bring about change. And those ladies are there, you can find them. But once you get that visibility, it inspires other people as well to come forward and think, actually, I could do that. Maybe I could speak on a stage about what I know, because I saw somebody that, was an inspiration to me at that event. And sometimes I think our members don't realise how inspiring they can be to other people just by telling their story. They might think they have a very small story to tell, and actually it can really inspire somebody else to think, I was on the fence about starting my own business or going for funding or even retraining and just going into tech as a new career route. And sometimes sharing what you think is your little story actually can really open the floodgates for lots of people as well. So yeah, visibility, so important.
Yeah.
And in your career, you've supported more than 100 startups from pre-seed to Series A. Have you seen women founders approach networking, fundraising, or self-promotion differently? And how does that affect the opportunities they receive?
Yeah. So the answer is yes, sometimes, but I would avoid generalizing. But true that many founders I met in the past were more cautious, like not into a fake it until you make it, more into waiting until they feel ready, and then, usually they are more than ready when they start fundraising, when they go to market with their product, or yeah, yeah. This is what I observed. Um, but things are evolving. One thing that we observed during the past year is the female representation in tech. Like 5 years ago, female representation in tech used to be in femtech, in fashion tech, in beauty tech. And but for a few years now, female founders who come on stage at VivaTech, they are in deep tech, they are in health tech, they are in green tech, etc., etc., etc. And most of them have PhD.
Yeah.
And and the product that they are building really have an impact on the way we live, on the planet, etc., etc. So things are evolving. Uh, Something that didn't change is what we discussed earlier, is the access to funding.
Yeah.
This is a tough topic, and no one has the solution, except for like maybe having more women in working in investment firm, on the investment teams, because you know how it is, like men in investment teams in VC funds usually invest. This is what we say. It's not like a truth, but this is like a feeling. They invest in people who looks like them. So,
Yeah.
so if I am a man, it's likely that I will invest in a company built by another man.
Yeah.
So this doesn't change. But my feeling is that when it comes to entrepreneurships, also we see more and more female, more and more women, sorry, building companies. So probably the tech sector is one of those industries who are evolving the faster when it comes to female representation
Yeah.
and yeah, who are bringing the gap. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, and you're so right. Where the types of businesses that women are launching nowadays in tech, it always did used to be right at the start. I remember it being like wearables or, like you said, health, femtech, and there's such a range now of companies that women are launching, which is fantastic. And we do hear that a lot as well. And it has been something that has gone on for a long time, that you hire what you know, or you almost think, I can take a chance on that person because I kind of know what I'm going to get, because they might remind me of myself, so I kind of think I know what I'm going to get from that person. And if there are never any females on the hiring panel, then that can be a very difficult thing to happen. And again, it's with that effort you have to make, that effort to think, we want to bring about change as we grow our startup. We want diversity to be built into the DNA of our culture, not just always hiring what we know, and what we think works, and then getting further down the line and thinking, why isn't our product working like we wanted it to, or why isn't it resonating with our audience like we wanted it to? And sometimes that's because of who you have in your workforce, and whether or not they are diverse or not. So we definitely, what you said resonates a lot with our community as well. And so tech, it describes itself as a meritocracy, but you've seen our ecosystems are built from the inside. So how much of success is actually built around merit, and how much is about access, networks, and who gets championed?
So no doubt, merit is real. I've seen it too many times to doubt it. And actually, I'm a living proof, because I didn't go to a renowned business school. I went to the university. When I moved to Paris for my career, I only had two friends in Paris. I knew two people only. And and if I made it, it's because I worked hard. I dreamed big. I went to networking events. I met people. I developed strong relationship with people because I love people, and I learned to be bold. And so there is still like many founders who are self-made, no network, no business school at the very beginning. So this can work. Definitely, everything is possible.
Yep.
But true that. Of course, not everyone starts from the same position. Like being championed by the right person, going to the best schools, having the right network from the beginnings, that makes things easier, and that makes a real difference. So maybe, when you don't have access to all of this, it will take twice the effort. Uh, but again, things are changing. Like for 5 or 10 years, there is like more and more programs, events like VivaTech, communities that bring resources to help people create connections, to help people grow, get educated, network, etc., etc. VivaTech is one of them. At VivaTech, for instance, this year, we guaranteed meetings to startups with investors, like, meetings with investors to everyone. So meaning that, investors didn't pick the startups they will meet at VivaTech, because it was like first come, first served. And that's an example. So I feel like there is like so many resources available, sometimes for free, to
Yep.
funders, through incubation programs, or sometimes also programs for underrepresented funders, like, those who come from underprivileged area. Uh, it has never been as easy as now. And maybe probably more easier than when I started. So yeah. So if you work hard, if you also surround yourself by the right people who will elevate you on the personal matter, and on the professional matter, uh, you can make it. And you know that expression, if you are the smartest people in the room, you are in the wrong room. I love this. I love
Yes.
this one. You
Yes.
see? So learn from
Love
others.
that.
I learned so much from the founders I supported in my previous role, and even at VivaTech also, like, because I meet I often meet with founders, and who share different challenges, different stakes, and we talk about it, and we try to solve issues or find solutions. And I feel like sometimes through conversations you can learn more from article or books, or so. Yeah, everything is possible. But I'm very positive usually. I have a positive mindset. So
Yes, and what that as well is, especially being around founders and startups, and that is very important to be positive and to keep going when things are not always looking their best. So definitely important in the environment that you work in. I think as well, I agree with the merit. Sometimes I've heard from a lot of our members about even wanting a promotion, even if you don't work in a startup. But
yeah,
some of our ladies have said, I thought sometimes that in my career, merit alone would get me that promotion, or somebody would see that I am working that hard. And it's not always the case. It's almost like you do have to make that case for yourself, and find a way that other people know
of
about
course, to
what you're
speak up.
doing.
Yeah,
Exactly, because you can work and work and work, and then wonder, like, my manager isn't a mind reader. They know that I'm working hard, but they might not know that actually I'm working hard because I would like a promotion, or that's on my path. I would like that. And then some people, they don't always vocalize what they would like next in their career as well. And many of our members have said to me, the moment where I actually started speaking up, letting my manager know, did I want that promotion? Did I not want that promotion? And by the way, here's all the things that I do. And we love an awards ceremony on purpose, because we get to highlight a lot of our members that are doing brilliant things that might not have let other people know, just to make them visible that they are doing brilliant things. So other companies might see them and think, actually, she's doing fantastic things because she won this award. Because we don't always speak up when we should. And if you're running a business, that is a very dangerous place to be, where you're not speaking up about everything you're doing without it coming across as arrogant as well, I suppose.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
a trap there, isn't there?
Yeah, you need to find the right balance.
Yes,
Like not
yes.
show enough, but definitely speak up and yeah,
Share what you're doing with the world.
share what
Yes.
you're doing. Yeah, highlight your achievements and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In a balanced way.
Yeah.
Um, so if you could change one thing tomorrow about how the global tech industry identifies and elevates talent, what would it be? And what impact would that have on women founders and leaders?
So this one is definitely a tough one. I will say stop treating failure as a red flag because we learn so much when we fail,
Yes,
and especially in entrepreneurship. Usually you don't make mistakes twice when you build a second business. Uh, and I feel like this matters even more for women because sometimes I feel like society is more demanding with women. We need society is expecting women to be good mothers, to be good wives, to be good employees, good leaders, and when a woman falls, um, yeah, the judgment is often very hard.
yes,
So if we normalize failure as part of the journey, if I can say, we definitely remove some barriers, and that also holds women back. You see.
yes.
So
And
yeah,
how much that failure, sharing that failure helps other people.
yeah,
Other
true.
people want to hear that. Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant. Like I won't do that. Or I can totally see, that happened in my business as well. I'm so pleased I'm not the only one.
yeah, true. You're right. Yeah.
So yeah, failures, you know what, something we discuss on here often is social media and social media, obviously it's great, you can get your brand out there and you can talk about what you do. Um, LinkedIn sometimes has those posts though that say things like, 1 year ago today, I started my business and look where I am now. Nothing in between is shared. And
Yeah,
that doesn't help people that are thinking, actually, my business isn't going as I thought it was going to go a year ago. Like, we want to hear what happened in between and all the things that went wrong and the failures that happened along the way. Because sometimes we do have that Instagram picture of starting our own business and, having
yeah,
this
true.
fantastic team behind you. And you're like, oh, that didn't work.
Yeah, and actually, 10 years ago in Paris and maybe in London as well, we used to, there were like a tech conference called FailCon. And so it was all about founders coming on stage to share their failure, like, how yeah, how
Ah,
they fail with their business, you see,
that would be
sharing
so
lessons and,
useful.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and even that brilliant way to get visibility, being honest about what you're doing, what works, what hasn't worked. Yeah, I love that. What an amazing event. Um, Olivia, I could keep talking to you on this topic all afternoon, but we're all out of time, I'm afraid. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for finding the time to come and chat with us. And members are absolutely going to love hearing all about your insights.
Thank you so much. And I realized I forgot to explain you what I do at VivaTech.
Yes.
Chief ecosystem. People always ask me, what does it mean, like chief ecosystem officer?
And here on Spilling the Tea as well, we love to hear the broad roles that are
Yes,
in tech. Like when people ask you what do you do,
yeah,
what do you
yeah,
tend to say?
yeah. So as chief ecosystem, I lead the startups, investors, and innovation teams at VivaTech. And our mission is to bring the right value proposition for startups, investors, ecosystem players, and making sure that we deliver the right programming at VivaTech, the right formats to help them accelerate their business with us. So, it's all about connecting with the right clients, for the right potential clients or partners, connecting for startups, connecting with investors, getting knowledge, on a business topic related to how it takes to what it takes to build a company, etc., etc. And we are also very instrumental when it comes to the growth strategy on startups, investors, making sure that they come in numbers at VivaTech. And so we do this through ecosystem partnerships with startup communities across the world. And we also run road shows like from Tokyo to Shanghai, Munich, London, to raise VivaTech's profile in other ecosystem. And this also brought us to build ecosystem collaboration. You see,
Yeah.
and this is also one fun part of the role, if I can say.
Yes, yeah, it sounds like your days are never the same, which is one of the exciting things about working in the tech industry. Obviously, the broad roles and all of the things that you get to work on at VivaTech. We're going to include a link as well to what you do in the bio, so our listeners can jump across and go and have a look at that as well. We have quite a few founders in our community as well, and I'm sure they would absolutely love to hear all about VivaTech and what you do and where they can find those free resources and find another network as well. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing today and for inspiring our community. Yeah, thank you very much, Olivia.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you to everybody listening. As always, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again next time.